In the summer of 1940, excitement buzzed across Washington state. A brand new suspension bridge stretched across the Tacoma Narrows, linking the city of Tacoma to the Kitsap Peninsula. At nearly 2,800 feet long, it was one of the longest suspension bridges in the world at the time, an engineering marvel, sleek and modern. Locals admired its beauty and convenience, cutting travel time dramatically. The opening was a moment of civic pride, but even before the paint had dried, the bridge began to reveal a personality of its own. Residents nicknamed it not for its elegance, but for its strange movement. It didn't stand still like most bridges. It rolled, it swayed, and sometimes it even looked as if it were dancing. Soon, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge would be remembered not as a proud triumph, but as the infamous Galloping Gertie. From the very first day it opened to traffic, drivers felt something was off. Crossing the bridge was like riding a roller coaster. The surface bounced up and down in long rolling waves. Some cars dipped so deeply that drivers lost sight of the road ahead for a moment. People laughed nervously, gripping their steering wheels tight, while others swore never to cross it again. The engineers insisted it was safe. The unusual movement, they argued, was just a harmless quirk of design. But what they hadn't accounted for was a dangerous scientific principle: resonance. Small, repeated forces, like the steady push of wind, can build up and grow stronger until even steel and concrete move in ways no one expected. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge was not just swaying, it was caught in a battle with the invisible forces of nature. On the morning of November 7th, 1940, strong winds whipped across Puget Sound. They weren't hurricane level, just steady gusts around 40 miles per hour. But for Galloping Gertie, it was enough. By 10 a.m., the bridge's gentle waves had turned into violent motions. Cars that ventured across were thrown side to side. The bridge didn't just bounce. It twisted, with one side of the roadway rising while the other sank, like wringing out a towel. Steel cables strained and groaned. The concrete roadway shuddered, heaving up and down in giant arcs. People gathered at the shoreline, watching in disbelief as the massive structure seemed almost alive, bucking like a bronco in the wind. For hours, the bridge endured this wild motion, each gust pushing it closer to the breaking point. The world had never seen a suspension bridge move in such a terrifying, uncontrollable dance. At 11 o'clock that morning, the bridge could take no more. With a deafening crack, the roadway tore apart. A central section of the bridge twisted violently and then snapped, plunging into the waters below with an enormous splash. Steel cables whipped through the air like giant lashes, while dust and debris filled the sky as Galloping Gertie collapsed into Puget Sound. Miraculously, no people were killed. Drivers who had been caught on the bridge managed to scramble to safety just before the final collapse. Still, the scene was terrifying. Cars stranded, the roadway breaking apart beneath them, and an engineering marvel crumbling into the sea. The fall of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge was caught on film, becoming one of the most famous engineering disasters ever recorded. Engineers, scientists, and ordinary citizens alike watched in disbelief as a symbol of modern progress buckled and fell. The disaster would forever change the way bridges were designed. The collapse of Galloping Gertie was not just a local tragedy, it became a turning point in the history of engineering. For the first time, scientists closely studied what had happened. They discovered that the bridge had fallen victim to a phenomenon known as aeroelastic flutter. Unlike simple swaying, this flutter was a deadly feedback loop. The wind pushed the bridge ever so slightly, and the flexible design amplified the motion instead of damping it. Each gust of wind added energy until the structure's movements grew larger and larger, feeding on themselves until the bridge tore apart. From that day forward, engineers never looked at suspension bridges the same way. Wind tunnels became a standard testing tool. Aerodynamic deck shapes replaced flat, boxy designs. Galloping Gertie's short life had exposed a hidden danger, but her collapse ensured that future bridges would be safer, stronger, and smarter. Today, if you visit Puget Sound, you'll see a new Tacoma Narrows Bridge standing proudly across the water. In fact, there are now two spans, carrying traffic safely across the Narrows every day. They were built with the lessons of the past in mind, streamlined, tested, and built to withstand powerful winds. Yet beneath the waves lie the twisted remains of the original bridge, silent testimony to the disaster of 1940. For engineers, Galloping Gertie is more than just a story. It is a case study, a reminder that even the strongest human creations must respect the forces of nature. Her wild dance may have lasted only 4 months, but her lesson has endured for generations.